you want in this world. Know your self-worth. Are you a queen from birth? It's hard for a woman in this time and age, cause some man don't have no time and place. Just running you down every night and day, but think about your future with a bright career. As I can see, you can come at me with your diamond shades, not everything that we do is all mama say. Rush with your pride, with desires and games, to live a nightmare. Learn to respect yourself, girls. You can be anything you want in this world. Know your self-worth. Are you a queen from birth? Learn to respect yourself, girls. You can do anything you want in this world. Know your self-worth. Are you a queen from birth? You are feeling live up life. Don't put yourself in a position, give up life. Teenage pregnancy is always on the rise. Relationships are not supposed to take your choice. And any man put the hands on me, me feel like me trapped and have nobody. Me not let heart to see the feeling to me, cause I will overcome and live someday. To the Father I pray. Learn to respect yourself, girls. You can be anything you want in this world. Know your self-worth. Are you a queen from birth? Learn to respect yourself, girls. You can do anything you want in this world. Know your self-worth. Are you a queen from birth? It's hard for a woman in this time and age, cause some man don't have no time and place. Just running you down every night and day, but think about your future with a bright career. As I can see, you can come at me with your diamond shades, not everything that we do is all mama say. Rush with your pride, with desires and games, to live a nightmare. Learn to respect yourself, girls. You can do anything you want in this world. Know your self-worth. Are you a queen from birth? Learn to respect yourself, girls. You can do anything you want in this world. Know your self-worth. Are you a queen from birth?
Good evening. Hey, welcome to the Caribbean Voice presentation of the Mind-Body Connection. Happy Monday to each and every one of you. Mr. Hiram, how was your day?
Well, good evening, Shanaz. Not bad at all, but I'm now coming off the flu, so I'm hoping I don't cough too much, but I'm trying to do as best that I can do so we can pull through tonight. Because, we have our ardent listeners on tonight. I see them locked on already, so we can't cancel at all.
That's right. Let's give a big up to Varshini Kendernath, I believe. Hey, Bibi Amira, good evening. Neela Pawar, the Caribbean Voice very own. Ravin, good night to you. The beautiful Maharani Dubé. Liz, good night to you. And hey, where is our beautiful Bibi Amat from the Caribbean Voice? Good evening to each and every one of you locked on to Island Zone Radio. Happy Monday. Let's get the DJ with one more song as we get prepared for our topic tonight.
Run.
That's messed up. Godzilla.
Oh gosh, I'm say, me fretting up about the year of flexing. I'm say, me falling up on me hear it wearing. Whoa. Every day, them a cry me down, but I just don't have fun. All me want is the music all night long. Till the party done. Play the music big and strong, cause I just don't have fun. Run the gun, straight to town. Don't stop this jam. Pump me up with the music. Pump me up. Cause you know I'm addicted. Pump me up. La, live without it. Pump me up with the music. Pump me up. Stop me, nobody pumping. Pump me up with the music. Pump me up. All me know just a jumping. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. If the night long. Till the party done. Play the music, big and strong. 'Cause I just love having fun. From the country straight to town. Don't stop this jam. Pump me up with the music. Pump me up. 'Cause you know I'm addicted. Pump me up with the music. Pump me up. Live without it. Pump me up with the music. Pump me up. Start me home and the pumping. Pump me up with the music. Pump me up. And we not just a jumping. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Twice as nice. Give me vibe, feeling right. Rock me steady all night. Give me vibe, feeling right. Rock me steady all night. Move the thing right. Feeling right. Oh gosh. Rock me steady all night. Oh gosh. Give me vibe, feeling right. Rock me steady all night. I'm say, hey. I'm feeling down on the pulsing feeling. I'm say, hey. Me medicine is the music playing. Whoa. Every day, then I cry me down. But I just don't have it fun. All me want is the music all night long. Till the party done. Play the music, big and strong. 'Cause I just don't have it fun. From the country straight to town. Don't stop this jam. Pump me up with the music. Pump me up. 'Cause you know I'm addicted. Pump me up with the music. Pump me up. Live without it. Pump me up with the music. Pump me up. Start me over the pumping. Pump me up with the music. Pump me up. And me not just a jumping. Pump me up with the music. Oh gosh. Pump me up. 'Cause you know I'm addicted. Pump me up with the music. Pump me up. Live without it. Pump me up with the music. Pump me up. Start me over the pumping. Pump me up with the music. Pump me up. And me not just a jumping. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Play the music. Oh gosh. Play the music. If the vibe, feeling right. Rock me steady all night. If the vibe, feeling right. Rock me steady all night. If the vibe, feeling right. Rock me steady all night. If the vibe, feeling right. Rock me steady all night. Yeah, we pump me up with the music. Pump me up. 'Cause you know I'm addicted. Pump me up with the music. Pump me up. Live without it. Pump me up with the music. Pump me up. Start me over the pumping. Pump me up with the music. Pump me up. And we not just a jumping. Pump me up with the
Pump me up with the music, and I love music. Do you love music, Ken?
What? I cannot stand one
I know
place with
Ken
music.
love dancing, and if you love dancing, definitely the moves come from the music, you know.
That's right,
And
that's
that's
right.
an oldie selected by Mr. Aditya, I believe, our DJ for tonight. Good night, Stanley Ramsaran. How you doing? Maharani Dubey, our loyal listener, said yes. That's Neela Pawaru. Hey, Sarah Daisy. Good night to you, Ken. Is in the studio with a lot of information. I'm getting scared at all these papers you have here. It's all about the talking and all about our topic tonight. Liz, good night to you. Maharani Dubey, good night to each and every one of you. If we missed someone, well, keep it on. Rajiv, good night to you. Neela Pawaro, Bibi Amina. We're going to try to get all the shout outs tonight. But on a good note, let's start our program on a positive note. We found
The missing guy.
last week we announced the missing child, Robert Rahman, and he was returned safely home. So guys, thank you for all your comments, all your input. It made a difference, and you know, maybe he saw the appeal and saw how much his parents loved him and missed him, and decided, you know what, it's about time to go back home. And also I see Pandit Sugrim went to visit the family.
Mm-hmm.
He went to visit the family of the 10-year-old that committed suicide.
Right.
Suicide in Guyana. So we'll be hearing from him shortly. So good night to each and every one of you. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. And I know it's for the Muslim community, I should say, Ramadan Mubarak, as they're getting ready to start a wonderful month of blessing. You know, we celebrate what you celebrate. We celebrate Diwali, we celebrate Pagwa, we celebrate Christmas. The most of all, we celebrate humanity.
That's correct. That's what we do.
So good night to each and every one of you. Stan, how are you? And hey, Ken, let's go.
Yeah, so we got a lot of things happen last week. You know, Shanaz, and I'm going to go easy with the voice because, you know, the cough, and I don't want to cough too much. But when I think about all our viewers and
viewers.
listeners, I said I can't, I must come on somehow or the other. So if you guys hear me cough a little bit or you don't see
Excuse
me,
him.
please excuse me. A couple of things we have to talk about. I was listening to this song yesterday, the first song that we played. I was at work and I
It has
listened
such
to it.
good meaning to it.
Yes,
We'll
and it had
definitely
good
have to play
meaning.
it back.
And and it was written by two Guyanese girls. One of them is Yolanda Greenwich, known as Divine, and the other one is Yolanda Gittings, known as Charisma. And they wrote it very nicely, and they addressed suicide and abuse, and to say what a young girl should do, really. And it's really important, and they're sending a good message. And I'm lucky that I wrote to her yesterday, and she did respond to me. And I told her I'll be playing her song. I'll open the program with her
We
song.
love respecting and we love supporting our Guyanese talents.
Exactly. So, and then that we talk again. The police, the young police officer that died, and he buried on was yesterday. I was lucky that I
Mr.
went.
Vincent.
Vincent, it's so unfortunate. I know Vincent family for many years since I was a small boy. His family is from Lenora, and his family has contributed so much in terms of education. One of his aunt taught me in school, another uncle, Eddie Basdale, who taught me accounting in Lenora. And so his family probably put out over 100 years of teaching altogether in Lenora. So they has contributed so much in Guyana and Lenora. And so I want to say, on behalf of my family, the Caribbean Voice, we would like to extend to your family our deepest sympathy. I'm so sorry that you died. This guy died. He left his wife, and she's pregnant. She is about 3 months pregnant. I think that she's gonna go, get a boy child or something, but I'm not too sure. Yeah, and it's so sad that this guy died in such a young age, such a good family. And so we always want to say that we always hear the Caribbean Voice always are so sorry when we hear young people die, and he's a police officer. We also want to say thank you very much for your services to all of us here in New York to make New York City such a safe place. Also, Shanaz, I meant today to all week I've been saving emails and all the stories on Facebook of how much killing and how much people get murdered, how much children were abused and all these things. Unfortunately, I were unable to copy all of this today because I was not feeling too well. But it is so sad. We can also talk about, Shanaz, our topic today is going to be on child abuse. And while I was reading about this, and I wanted to bring this into context with our own self. You are a mother, I am a father. And I will give you my take, what I think, and then you can probably share, and we can probably help each other and help people to understand, what is our role and responsibility really when we have our children. And so I believe that, I was so glad, and I think being a father or being a parent anytime is such a blessing to hold that big responsibility. And I can go back, and my son Ken is listening. And when I learned that Geeta was pregnant, I was so happy. I was 42 years old. I didn't have any kids. And, Shana, strangely, I went to Kohl's on 188th Street, and I had clothes all over me, and my basket was full. I was so happy, and I had some cash.
Were you shopping for yourself, or are you
No.
shopping for the baby?
And I was shopping for Ken, and actually I bought everything for him because I wanted to give this child, who I don't know so much. And while in the store, a woman turned to me and said, "I hope you left some clothes for me." And I said yes. And Shanaz, and I could say this because I really want people to give their children the best thing there is in life, to give them the best life there is. So here it is. I went to the parking lot after I finished buying all this stuff, and I think about my own father, and I started to think about Ken. I knew what his name was going to be because I always wanted to name him after me.
Oh,
And
he looks exactly
he
like
like me.
you.
He's the
a
carbon copy.
Yeah, he is a carbon copy of you.
And so I start to cry in the parking lot because I say this to myself. Here it is. I am going to get a son, and I don't know him, but I love him so much, and I want to give him so much. And so in my opinion, Shanaz, and to our viewers, I believe as parents, one of the things that we should do, if we agree to bring children into this world, we should give them the best life there is. And if you can't afford to take care of a child, then you shouldn't bring one into this world, because you don't want to bring them and they should be punishing and going through such a hard time, like some of the things we were seeing, like some of the mother who's killing their kids. And I will address that in a little bit, of sometimes what causes that. So I do agree we should give children their best life and prepare them for this world. What's your take, Shanaz?
Well, we are their soul. We should be their soul caretaker, and we bring them into this world. We should definitely give them all the love and things that we didn't have. But sometimes, giving them all that we didn't have can also spoil them. We need to instill values on them, respect. Not because it's your birthday you deserve something. Not every occasion you deserve something. Not everything you want you should have. Maybe because we didn't have the things we didn't have make us who we are today.
Absolutely. And our past is what actually help determines our future and what we do. I like to say welcome, Mr. Ryan Jeffrey is watching us. Nayan from Guyana is watching. My neighbor Debbie Roberts, my aunt Delari Sigobin that you met a couple days ago, and our good friend, my friend Mahendra Pagwan. As you know, that he won not too long ago a scholarship to come to the United States.
Congratulations on that.
Go ahead.
Debbie Roberts, good night, good night. Hey, Nana, good night to you. And East or West, big up to DJFS, always doing a wonderful job behind the scenes when it comes to Island Zone Radio. Rajendra, good night to you. Hey, Patricia Kato, good night, good night. Share the link so that everyone could see you're locked on to Island Zone Radio. We are here every Monday, 8 to 10 p.m. with the Caribbean Voice. The beautiful Diana Shivram is locked on. Maharani Dubey, Aditya, that's right. He have a good selection. We have some fantastic tunes, so share the link so everyone could hear our conversation as much as sharing our music that we selected this evening.
Exactly.
Hey, Rajendra, thank you very much. Hey, Delari, Auntie Delari, I should say.
Yes.
Good night to each and every one of you in Schenectady. Arjuna Madre, good night to you. Chitram, how you doing? Well, let's go back. Yes, we should love our kids, give them the protection they need. Protection means from outsiders. Sometimes we take our neighbors for granted. We leave our kids with your neighbors, your family that they're unstable. And they're not thinking about your child, much less thinking about themselves. They can't take care of themselves. So we really have to look into who we're leaving our children with.
Yes, and I want to address, a couple of days ago, I read on the internet where a mother, she stabbed her child, her baby, and the baby died. And so I want to say that sometimes, we don't know. And sometimes the lay person doesn't know. But when you're pregnant and you giving birth to a child, the mother can also suffer depression. Depression. And sometimes people don't pick it up. Only the mother would know. And sometimes she doesn't have that sense to know what's going on with her, how depressed she really is.
Your body just went through a complete change.
Yes.
So yes, all your hormones will be out of balance, and sometimes as a mother you can't tell what's wrong with you. But that's why we should surround ourselves with people around us, or have someone who's helping us. They should be able to tell, she's not acting right. She needs help. What do you do on a hormone imbalance like that?
Well, things like that, she should have seen a doctor, or she should be evaluated. And I'm not sure if when a child is born, if the mother is being evaluated for that. I will find out and get back to you guys.
Upon discharge of the hospital.
They should know these things. And that's why it's a good thing, in Guyana, where we are from, when you give birth, you go to your parents' house or you go to someone's house who is supportive, and they could probably pick up anything. So it's sad. But, in the United States, this is so different sometimes. Where you give birth, you go home, you want to go home by yourself, and you and your husband left and gone to work, and you there by yourself.
I was working with a young nurse. She was barely 35 when she gave birth to her first child, her daughter. And, as much as she was so excited and her husband was so excited, when they got home, she was just like looking at this baby like, what am I supposed to do after this? Because she's living in America, and back home she's used to seeing others, elderly, taking care of their new mothers,
Yes,
and here she is, she doesn't have anyone, and she's like, now I have to take care of this child. What am I supposed to do first? She's a nurse, she's qualified, she have that love. She did a good job, because down the line, when the baby was maybe 3 years old, the dad got in an accident. But she was well-equipped, and she took care of that daughter very, very good. With the love and education.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing. I see my friend is watching from Trinidad and Tobago, Miss Jasoda Takurdeen. Thank you for tuning in. And, I always like to say thank you very much to all our viewers, for our older viewers. It's going on a couple of months now that you guys have stick with us the week after week, I see your name popping up in on our computer.
Marlon Tulsi, good night to you. Underground Song, hey Alvin, good night to you. Good night to each and every one of you. Nanda Budai, good night to you. And yes, we're here every Monday, 8 to 10 p.m. And I know we've talked about this topic once, we talked about it twice, but people keep requesting it because it's so much information out there. Like, how to take care of your loving kids, how to protect them. How do you know if they're going through a hard time? Well, you have to sit down and spend some time with them.
Exactly. So, so what we can do, we can have a song, and when we come back,
we'll take
we
your
will
questions.
go into business.
Do give us your questions, and we would love to read it online for you. Hey, Janet, good night to you. Mr. John Hassan Khan, Nanda, good night. Good night, Stanley Ramsaran. That's right. Happy Ramadan. Jazz, good night to you. Let's go, DJ, with another beautiful selection. Enjoy.
मुश्किल दो लफ्जों में ये बयां ना हो पाए एक लड़का एक लड़की की ये कहानी है नहीं दो लफ्जों में ये बयां ना हो पाए
तेरी मेरी तेरी प्रेम कहानी है मुश्किल दो लफ्जों में ये बयां ना हो पाए एक दूजे से हुए जुदा जब एक दूजे के लिए बने तेरी मेरी तेरी प्रेम कहानी है मुश्किल दो लफ्जों में ये बयां ना हो पाए सारा दिन बीत जाए सारी रात जगाए बस ख्याल तुम्हारा लम्हा लम्हा तड़पाए ये तड़प कह रही है मिट जाए फासले ये तेरे मेरे दरमियान जो है सारे
एक दूजे से हुए जुदा जब एक दूजे के लिए बने
तेरी मेरी बातों का हर लम्हा सबसे अनजाना दो लफ्जों में ये बयां ना हो पाए
एक लड़का एक लड़की की ये कहानी है नहीं दो लफ्जों में ये बयां ना हो पाए
Welcome back to the Caribbean Voice presentation of the Mind-Body Connection every Monday right here on Island Zone Radio, 8 till 10 p.m. Well, tonight we're talking about, our topic tonight is
Child abuse. But before I do that, I want to say special hello to Bibi Hassan from Guyana. She works with the, and I'm so glad that she's watching our program. She is working so hard, doing a lot of outreach work for cancer in Guyana. So my friend, thank you very much, and keep doing all that you do. And I hope that sometime when I come to Guyana, or my co-host, we can see you and we can do a small interview with you, and we can chat and see all that you're doing. I see all that you're doing, and thank you very much. So let's talk about child abuse and intentional harm or mistreatment to a child under 18 years old is considered child abuse. Child abuse must It takes many forms, which often occurs at the same time. Physical abuse, that is, abuse occur when a child is purposefully physically injured or put at risk or harm by another person. And let's talk about sexual abuse. We'll go into details with these things, Shanaz, but I'm just giving a little outline of what it is really. When we talk about sexual abuse, child abuse is any sexual activity with a child, such as fondling, oral genital contact, intercourse, exploitation, or exposure to child pornography. Um, we have emotional abuse too. Emotional abuse from a child means injuring a child's self-esteem or emotional well-being. It includes verbal or emotional assault, such as continually battling or berating a child, as well as isolating, ignoring, or rejecting a child. We also talk about medical abuse, whereby a child is sick and you're neglecting to take care of that child. You have the child home that's sick and you're not taking care of them. We have neglect. Child neglect is failure to provide adequate food, shelter, water. You have affection, supervision, education, or dental or medical care. In any case, child abuse is done by someone the child knows and trusts. Often, it can occur by the parents or by relatives. If you suspect any kind of child abuse, one should report it to the police. So let's talk about physical abuse. And we know that in Guyana, especially our parents would beat us. They would do different things with us.
You get the pot spoon, you even get the broomstick sometimes. Whatever they have at hand, that will be,
Exactly. So, but in Guyana, we don't look at that really as any kind of abuse. But despite it leaves a lot of scars in you and a lot of marks on your skin. I remember I used to get a lot of licks, but in Guyana, you don't look at it in that way. But in the United States, it's definitely considered
it's part of discipline.
Abuse.
They parents believe it's part of discipline, but how much is enough? You give a kid a spank here and there, or you ground them, but too much sometimes could hurt them. Verbal abuse as well. Arjuna Madre, good night to you. Hey, Chitram from French Guyana, good night to you. Angela Ramsaran, good night. Camille, how you doing? Radhika Singh, thank you guys. Line, good night. Gita Baldeo, thank you guys for sharing. Not forgetting the beautiful Gita in our studio. We have a live audience, and it's so entertaining when we do have a live audience giving us their love and support as well. And we have the beautiful Bibi Ahmad in Guyana. Remember, folks, we're coming to Guyana August 3rd for the Concert of Hope in Guyana. Big up to Satish and Nati Ramatar.
That's right. And let's talk about sexual abuse. And we know that sexual abuse happens so much in our community, in all other community. So much kids have they get molested and so on. And as we know and as we talked about before, it always happens most of the time with family members. So we have to be very careful as parents who we let watch our children.
They're stealing your child's innocence.
Exactly. So, and then we have emotional abuse. It's so sad that sometimes you have your own parents who are abusing you emotionally growing up. And I always I believe that when you abuse your children in this form, is that you're chipping away from their good mental health, their self-esteem. You're giving them the sense that you're not good enough. You're telling your children
instead of empowering them, we're doing the opposite, demeaning them.
And I heard in Guyana sometimes when your parents tell you, oh, it's best I plant a mango tree, or best I plant a coconut tree before I make you, that you're no good, you're good for nothing, and then you will turn out to be a nobody, and so on. So parents sometimes don't think of some of the things, the harm that we are causing.
The invisible scars they're putting on a child. Good night to each and every one of you. Thank you for hey Pushpa Sharma, good night to you. Thank you guys for sharing. I see we have a lot of sharers tonight on the Caribbean Voice. We are locked on Island Zone Radio. Good night to DJ Fess. And we'll talk about another family, a friend of mine who talk about, abuse in Philippines, not just Guyana. She encountered it in Philippines firsthand. Diana Shivram, good night to you. Stanley Ramsaran, thank you for sharing. Sharing is always caring. Mr. John Nemet, thank you very much. Let's get back to our topic.
Yes, and then we're going to talk about medical abuse. Sometimes you have a child at home, and you as a parents who supposed to take the responsibility, who have the responsibility anyway, to take care of this child, and you have this child sick at home, and you're not taking care of this child. So as parents, we have to be the one that's taking care of these children. Don't
Proactive
have them,
in their
you
care.
take the word out of my mouth, proactive. Excuse me. You have to be proactive and help your child to get the best care there is. Neglect. So many parents are neglecting their children and their family. So all of this is no good. And I don't know if you remember, and you see a couple of weeks ago, where a child was locked up in a chicken coop, like, and was in there, and police, the neighbors see, and they called the police, and the police went and kept the guy out, which was a beautiful thing. So that neighbor really helped that child.
Right, you
to,
see something, say something. You're saving a life. 5 minutes of your time could definitely save a life, and empower a child as we go along. And what was the story? Who locked the child up in the coop?
The parents.
The parents.
The parents
Why?
lock him up like he is like a fowl or a dog. They lock him up in there and was like feeding him. He's not getting enough sunlight. He's not getting all these good air and all these things. And it definitely would cause a lot of problems. And as we go on, you will see malnutrition. You don't get enough.
Was the
vitamin
parents
D.
evaluated? What's happening in the child's custody right
Well,
now?
I'm not sure.
We will
sure
do a
that it
follow up
is-
on that story next week, because we really like to know. You just can't take out the child and put him back with his parents. More harm could be done. Maureen Ramchran, good night to you. Good night to the Caribbean Voice and all the members of the Caribbean Voice. We are a non-for-profit organization based in New York, and yes, our founder went to Trinidad, and he
I
was.
gonna tell you, yes, go ahead.
You can continue talking, Ken.
No, I want you to talk about what. Okay. So that's good. Our Caribbean Voice is
Building
making him-
bridges.
Exactly. So, and so Alan went to Trinidad, and I know that he did a good job. He gave a good report of all the things that he's doing and was doing in Trinidad. I know he's coming back. So, the Caribbean Voice is doing great things, and I'm so glad that we are part of the Caribbean Voice. And I know that Anand did a good job. He always knows the right thing, what to say. He's very knowledgeable, and I'm so
Very
glad
knowledgeable.
that he is there,
And he decided if we're doing such a good job in Guyana, making a difference, he should be making a difference around the world. So why not start with Trinidad, where so much of our West Indian folks needed the help as well. So yes, we're making bridges, and if you guys would like to be a part of us, the Caribbean Voice in Trinidad, do reach out to Mr. Kenneth Hiram or Mr. Anand Budram or myself. We are on Facebook. We'd love to have you guys. Many hands make light work, as
That's
they say.
correct. That's correct. And let's talk about emotional abuse, the sign and symptoms. You delayed or inappropriate emotional development. And we were talking about this young guy. All of this could happen to him because here it is. He is not being interacting with any peers. Nobody. They just feed him.
How long was he being locked up?
Probably a couple of years, about 2-3 years, I believe.
Wow.
So all of this, the development of this child, I hope that he turned out to be a great guy, but let's see what's going to happen. The loss of self-confidence or self-esteem, and constantly telling a child, that you're no good, you're no good, you're no good, you're good for nothing. You definitely would cause some problem
Ruining
with
their emotions.
and social withdrawal or loss of interest or enthusiasm. Imagine you still, we're going to talk about this guy. He's there. He don't know how to interact with people. He don't know what to say, what not to say, how to talk to people. So all of this could lead to these problems. He could end up with depression, avoidance of certain situations such as refusing to go to school or ride the bus. Imagine that this child is in this cage, locked up all this time, not going to school. So when he become an adult, he is not going to be able to read anything.
It will be traumatized for him to be around folks,
Exactly.
especially
So
in crowd.
yes, if your child you continue to do these things to your child, you will have a decrease in school performance or loss of interest in school, loss of acquired in the developmental skills. You there all the time. You're not growing up. You're not playing. Your bones not moving. You know what I'm saying? So it's definitely is a problem in society. That's why it's good always not to be not to be nosy. But it's good to pay attention what's going on really around you.
You're surrounded.
Because we have see time and time again that people, like the other day, and I'm not too sure of the story, I just read them sometime, where this mother and father had about 5 or 6 kids locked up in a room, and one of the daughter called somebody for help, and they're getting the appropriate help that's there.
Wow.
We have neglect, the signs and symptoms of neglect, poor growth, or weight gain, or being overweight, poor hygiene, lack of clothing or supplies to meet physical needs. And let's go back to this guy again. He's locked up there. He's nobody giving him a shower. He's there like this all the time, no clean clothes. Can you imagine what he was going through? taking food.
I hope the parents are, getting looked into.
Oh, I was just told that he was being naked inside of that
Oh,
place.
wow. So he was definitely like a pet, an animal.
Right, and sometimes we don't even treat animals like that. Poor record or school attendance. You have children who've been abused, this lack of appropriate attention, or for medical, dental, or psychological problem, or a lack of necessary follow-up to get all the care there is. Also, Shanaz, if we can talk a little bit about Ryan Jeffrey. I put his flyer over there that we can talk about his boat ride.
Right. We have a boat ride coming up, and Linai said child abuse come in so many ways. Lots of them are caused by neglect. Thank you very much, Linai. Angela Ramsaran. Anthony Prasad, good night to you from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Well, if you guys are locked on from Fort Lauderdale, we, the Caribbean Voice, will be there June 29th at the Sip and Chat restaurant for the Concert of Hope. And hey, maybe you'll get to see Mr. Kenneth himself. Last year I was there alongside Satish Udayaram, Nati Ramatar, Apache Warrior, and the cast continued. This year we got bigger, but we'll be there June 28, 29 in Orlando, the Sip and Chat restaurant for the Caribbean Voice presentation of a Concert for Hope. We are a non-for-profit organization to all these shows that we're doing, raising awareness as well as raising funds for the Caribbean Voice. So we look forward to seeing each and every one of you there. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Come and support us, the Caribbean Voice. Mr. John Hassan Khan, good night to you. Well, we'll try to raise it up a little bit more. Ish Anita, good night to you. Linai said, Kenneth Rampasad is a nurse. What's going on, right? This nurse needs to take better care of himself, or maybe he needs a night nurse. What do you think?
I have to talk to Keith about that. Let me see. But guys, I'm human being first before any other thing else. And, we went to Chutney Wine the other night, and we went without a coat and everything, and came out of that place at 1 o'clock in the morning.
You shouldn't be cold at that time because he was busy dancing. So I'm sure his body generated an amount of heat to take him to his car. Hey, Liz Paduman, good night to you. Yes, it's indeed a very sad story. And someone wrote in our chat earlier, there was a 3-year-old, his dad, I think, burned him in a car. I'm not sure if you saw that one. So yeah, there's so many sad things going on. As we say, some parents are looking forward into gaining having a baby, and they cannot, which is, we have parents out there who have children and they can't take care of them, as you talked earlier. What about these unprotected? Not everybody expect or they want to. Maybe they're just all that hate built up because they got pregnant from an unwanted.
Yes, all of that is, we know people get pregnant because they were raped and all of these things. But, Shanaz, there is so much, I know rape is a different story, but there is contraceptive out there. If as a parent, if you're not ready for a child, there is so much things that you can do, and you can discuss this with your doctor. All the different contraceptive there is. There is condoms, the IUD that you can wear there. There is pills.
After pill, after an incident, an unwanted incident, just protect yourself. We as women should protect our body.
Exactly. So there is things that you can do. And as we're talking, and I'm glad that we are chit-chatting, it causes a problem. I'm going to tell you this. I have a patient, and I've always talked about him. He's going to be he's about 70-something years old, about 75, 76 years old. And I really did get deep into him. He's one of the patients that's so special to me that I feel so sorry for him. And when he talked to me, sometimes I tear very quietly. And here's a story about him. He was born... he don't know any living relative. When he was born, a couple days old, his mother put him in a basket and leave him in a church step. Fortunately, somebody found him, and he grew up in all the foster care system, a lot of foster care system. So he was severely traumatized. He was diagnosed. He has a history of psych diagnosis. Of course, he did some drugs, but I dig into this guy, and I try to, I can talk about these things, have experience with them. And so I asked him one day, are you sorry that your mother bring you into this world? And he told me, I'm being very honest with you guys. He said, I wish my mother had aborted me, because to bring me in this world and to put to me all of this, and he was abused in so many ways. He was a karate expert. He was an army guy, and up to this day, and I have to be very careful. I'm going to say this piece, but he sometimes, I met him about 15 years ago now, and he always tell me he wish he can die. that he don't know why God has him on this earth, that he's suffering and he's punishing. But I'm so glad that, and he doesn't trust a lot of people. I am so lucky that this guy, he trusts me. And it took him 6 months to trust me, to tell me all his secrets, to tell me all the things that he went through in life. And I'm so glad. And I made one promise to him that whenever he dies, that I'm going to be right there with you. And I would stand right there, and I wish they could give me the flag that, I said to him, I would not want you to go alone. I would want to be right there standing with you. And I want you to know that how much I care as a nurse for you. And sometimes it really do make a difference.
You're comforting him, and you're giving him that trust that, sometimes we do need to speak our mind. We do need to speak what's bothering us, and you're relieving him from that. So at that moment, I'm sure he was thankful to have you there. Anita, good night to you. She's locked on.
From Jamaica.
From Jamaica. How is the Sunshine State in Jamaica? We are heading that way pretty soon. Yes, Lene, he should be using some bush medicine, as they said. Lemon and ginger will knock that cold right off. Robert, good night to you. How you doing? Delari Sigobin, she really wants to know, Anita, how is that trip going around? And if you're locked on to Island Zone, big up to you. Good night to each and every one of you.
I see Mr. Robert Girdari is watching. Thank you very much for watching. He is from Lenora, and I'm so glad I'm seeing so much Lenora people here. It's a good thing. It's nice when we have our support, especially from the people of your place.
The famous John from Queens is locked on, and the beautiful Auntie Lene said she'll be seeing us in Florida for the Concert of Hope. It's happening June 29. Arjuna Madre, good night to you. Last night in Baisley Park, he chained the car, locked it, and burned her. Oh, that's the incident, burning the baby. Liz, good night to you.
And Liz said, yes, they get pregnant from rape, but it's the life. It's a life. Don't take it out on the child. Take care of the child and do not neglect them. And Liz, you are correct. And one of the things that I would say to any mother who has been raped, go get professional help. There's so much therapists out there that can help you to deal with all this anger and not to take it out negatively on the newborn child. You know what I'm saying?
Harry George, good night to you. I hope you're locked on to, I guess, from Florida, Guyana, or Canada. You're always touring around, but wherever you are, you're always supporting us, the Caribbean Voice. Folks, we have a boat cruise coming up as we're talking June 29 in Orlando. We have the Concert for Hope presented by the Caribbean Voice, but for you guys in New York, well, don't feel left out. June 29, let's jump on the river. That is Jamming on the River, part 4. I've been to 1, 2, 3, and they were all fantastic. And guess what? He has, I believe it's 3 decks or 4 decks. So we have DJs on each one of these decks. We have Bollywood, Chutney, and Soca. You never know what you'll be getting on Jamming on the River. Added to this cast is the dancing sensational Mr. D-Raj, Gaia Ram, Randy Reckless, and the beautiful girl here. Guys, check it out. June 29 in NYC, Jamming on the River. Fiona Singh, that's the name. I'm sure you've been watching her video. She is a great entertainer. Not forgetting all the wonderful DJs and hosts you've been seeing on Island Zone Radio. Make note of the date, June 29, and make sure you're there. The flyer will be on my Facebook page, presented by Elite Sound Island Zone Radio, June 29. And yes, it's a Hawaiian team, so guys.
It's a beautiful thing. And you know what? We need to support Ryan, DJ Fest. He is the man, anytime I have problem here in the studio, we always call him. He's always supporting everyone. And guess what I want to tell you, Shanaz? I believe, how much deck you said? 3 or 4? But I believe that D-Raj is going to be on deck 1, but he will rock that whole boat. He is not playing.
Right. D-Raj had a beautiful program last Saturday at the Epic Lounge, and he had a wonderful turnout. Wonderful love and support from our community. They all showed him their love, and he's been doing a fantastic job promoting our culture, teaching our community girls how to dance, And yes, he got talent. I'm sure you would like to go to one of his dancing class.
Lord Jesus, I get old for that now, Shanaz. But you know what? I see you on the floor the other night. I think it was Danny who had pulled you out and was having you dance.
Yes.
He was serenading you. That's a beautiful thing. You were the special lady that night. Anyway, so let's continue. Another thing, mental behavior. Sometimes apparent demeanor or behavior sends red flag about child abuse. and you go to people's house sometime and you see how they're treating their kids, and I'm sure probably that happened to you too, that you go to somebody's house and you see how they're talking to their kids, and you're wondering in your mind, oh my God, wonder why they're talking to their kids like that in this manner. Like, like some of the warning signs that include a parent would be like showing little concern for the child. An example, like you would see the child be crying all the time, and the mother or father or nobody would go see why this child is crying. Appear unstable to recognize physical and emotional distress in the child, blame the child for the problem. Like, for example, anything happens, what the mother do, they get very upset, they go and want to beat the child, take out all the passion. Like, for example, if the husband and wife fighting, who gets the blame? The child. Who gets the licks? The child.
Ken knows
Especially
that very
sometimes.
well. He does not misbehave, but he's getting that letter,
Oh Jesus, yes, yeah. But thank God that Gita don't beat me. We don't fight. That doesn't happen in our life, our life here.
Lorna, good evening. Good evening, Naina. How you doing? Gita, Baldi, Harry, George, Liz, good night to you. Thank you guys very much. Let's go to another item song selected by our young DJ tonight. They're always having some fantastic song for the Caribbean Voice presentation every Monday right here, 8 to 10 p.m. Mr. John Nemeth, thank you very much. He says, why is child abuse more common in poor neighborhoods, in poor unskilled family? We'll answer that question on our return. Do enjoy the track.
This is for all the ladies, all the young lovers, all the young lovers, all the women who feel there's no way out.
Yes, guys. Let me tell you a little bit about this song. Yesterday, as I said, I told Shanaz and I was telling you guys.
Such a beautiful word.
I was listening to this song and I was captivated. And you know what? The thing is that they wrote it in Guyana style. I'm going to try to read it to you guys. Forgive me if I don't get all the words right. It says, this is all for young mothers, all the women who feels there is no way out, just to realize there is a way out, okay? You said you have to learn to respect yourself. You can be anything you want to be in this world. No, you are the self-worth girl. You are the queen from birth. Yes, this girl is saying, you are the queen. From the time you were born, Shanaz, you are the queen. And if you know what, if you hold yourself that esteem, that's a good way to go. You have to learn to respect yourself. And this writer is saying you have to learn to respect yourself. You can do anything you want in this world. Just know that you are the queen. That's the chorus. And then it says, it's hard to be a woman in this time and age because some man don't have no time and place, just a rundown every night and day. But think about your future with a bright career. For as I can say, you can come at me with all your diamond shades and everything that glitters is gold, mama. Mama said, dash away with your pride for desire and game to live a nightmare. And so, this is a good message. No matter whatever glitter you have, whatever goal you have, don't get taken and carried away by all these things that these guys come and bring to you. You have to live up and live up. Don't put yourself down or put yourself in position where you become pregnant. You have to rise up. They talk about teenager pregnancy, relationship. Suppose you take your choice, which you're supposed to take your own choice, and then he want to put his hands on you, which they talk about abuse there. Then it says sometimes you get thoughts of suicide. Get to me, cause I will overcome and lead someday. And so this is a beautiful song. I really love the rhythm, and so we want to give credit to Yolanda Greenwich, known as Divine, and Yolanda Gittings and Charisma. Both of them from Guyana, and I'm sure we will hear from these girls.
Definitely. And for an option, actually for a credit and more, plus we will attach that video at our link below. So guys, check it out, listen to the lyrics. Fiza Rahim, good night to you, the beautiful Geeta Baldeo, John Nima, thank you very much. Yes, Kenneth can really dance. Harry George, Arjuna Madre, good evening. And Mr. Ryan Jeffrey, good evening. Let's go with that title, and you guys listen to the words.
Learn to respect yourself, girls. You can be anything you want in this world. Just know your self-worth. Now you are queen from birth. Yeah, Afi, learn to respect yourself, girls. You can do anything you want in this world. Just know your self-worth. Now you are queen from birth. It's hard for a woman in this time and age, Cause some man don't have no time and place, just running you down every night and day. But think about your future with a bright career.
Far as I can see, you can come at me with your diamond shades. Not everything that glitter is gold, mama say. Dash away your pride for desires and gains to live a nightmare.
Yeah, Afi, learn to respect yourself, girls. You can be anything you want in this world. Just know your self-worth, that you are green from birth. Yeah, Afi, learn to respect yourself, girls. You can do anything you want in this world. Just know your self-worth, that you are green from birth. You have to live up life. Don't put yourself in a position, give up life. Teenage pregnancy is always on the rise. Relationships are not supposed to take your choice.
And anyone put the hands on me, me feel like me trapped and have nobody. Me not let.
That's right, that's right. You have to know your self-worth as a woman and know that from birth you are a queen. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Mind-Body Connection with your host, Miss Shanaz Hussein and Hiram Rampersad. You know me as Ken.
Good evening to each and every one of you. If you're paying attention to our slides back there, well, it's some clips of what we put together for our last event in Guyana, distribution by the beautiful Bibi Ahmad from the Caribbean Voice. So if you guys have something to donate to the Caribbean Voice, do call either one of us and we'll be there to pick it up. We love getting your donations because it makes a difference in Guyana. To the folks that we're sending it to, they're very, very appreciative. Hey, good night to the beautiful Roxanne Walker Hamilton. Good evening, good evening. Hey, good evening to each and every one of you. Diana Shivram.
Diana, I believe you. Nobody can beat that man. He would rock this whole New York City. And we're talking about D-Raj.
Angela Ramsaran, good evening to you. And D-Raj is a fantastic dancer. I had the opportunity to MC his show and I missed DJ Fest last Saturday. I was looking to get a dance, at least from a nice guy, and he wasn't there.
Oh, Jesus. What can I say? So we were going back to mental behavior. You have consistently belittled. You have parents who belittle their child, berates them, and describe the child as negative terms such as worthless and evil, as we said. And Shanaz, I am so glad that as parents we were talking, and as we have this show, we want to let people know too what some of the things that they could, how they could uplift their children and their child. So I believe when you get your child, treat them and train them the right way. Give them all the tools to be great human being in this world. Don't belittle them. Don't let them know that you're going to be nobody. Don't say that. That's your kids. They come from you. And most importantly, you know what is what you train your children to do most of the time.
Motivate them, inspire them, support them, because a lot of kids now, they're full of talent. And back in Guyana, I used to see my neighbors stopping her kids from drawing. That could be, you could become an artist from drawing. So do not stop them. Empower them. Give them the tools they need to be themselves. Not everybody's going to grow up to be a doctor or a lawyer.
And the good thing is that there on this earth, there is space for everybody. We all have doctor, whether you're a lawyer, doctor, cane cutter.
I have doctors, our doctors don't want their kids to be doctors. They don't want them to follow that path because it's a stressful life. Hey, good night to the beautiful Shanti Singh. And Shanti could really sing. She rocked that stage last Saturday at Epic Lounge. Anthony Prasad, good evening to you. Anthony, have a brand new track coming out. Last week I played it on Island Zone Radio, and I'll play it again this Thursday. So guys, keep it locked on Island Zone. You never know whose radio program he'll be on. 24/7 Island Zone is the channel to be on. Maria, good evening to you. Shanti, good night, good night. Lots of pictures Shanti took of everyone. She's such a beautiful soul, and I wish we have lots more beautiful soul in our community. John Nema, thank you very much. Gita Balde, Linai, thank you. Love is in the air, and love should always be in the air. Love for yourself and others around you. Do join me on Thursday for the musical segment, the segment that keeps you dancing.
That's right. That's right. Also, we have we have a child. We should provide them with all the love and attention and care that seems to help them grow up. Sometimes parents do jealous their children. I don't seem to understand why, but there is sometimes some jealousy there. But when negative things like that happen, especially if you have access to care, the best thing to do is to go seek help. to discuss all this negative feeling that you're having. If you have a child that you're feeling all of this thing too, right? Demand an inappropriate level of physical and academic performance, several limits the child contact with others. And as we were talking about doctors, a lot of people sometimes want their children to be doctors and lawyers and whatever.
That they're
it is.
raising the level for the kids so high, you know. Set it you don't have to set it high or set it low, but empower them, support them, as Arjuna Madri said. Show them the love and give them the support. Support is the key. Sit and listen to them. Their opinions means a lot, of course.
Absolutely. And you know what? Do the best. You know what I say? I don't care. Not that I don't care, but I don't mind what my children want to become. But I want them to live an honest life and to do what's right, even if they have to be a cane cutter. But be whatever you choose to do in life, or whatever they choose to do in life, be the best at it. Better you mop the floor, and you'll be surprised here in New York, if you mop the floor, you get $20 an hour, $15 an hour.
It comes with benefits too in most of these schools. You know,
Exactly.
You have 401k, and it's a stress-free job. So why not? Everyone seems to, you know, the quality of life. That's what matters. Quality of life. As long as you're happy.
Yes, Mario, I actually asked to say hello because I was trying to keep save my voice, because you know I get the bad allergy and then I get the flu
allergy
too.
season. What would you recommend, Nurse Kenneth?
You know what? There is so much allergy pills out there, and the best thing is that you try different ones and you see which one really works for you. I always tell people what worked for me may not work for you, and what worked for you may not work for me. So you try whatever you try and see what the best thing that you can do, which I have not done, is to go to an allergist and see what they would recommend that you get.
I believe right now it's the pollen that's irritating everyone. Pollen. But yes, different medications take different approach and helps differently.
Exactly. So, demand an inappropriate level of physical and academic level. So don't push your children to be a doctor when you know that they can be a doctor, or they don't have the capacity to be a doctor. Hey, sometimes they could be an astronaut, or they want to be an astronaut. You know what I'm saying? But whatever you do.
See what they're interested in. Maybe they have a different hobby.
Also, Shanaz, what I want to say is that whatever your child wants to do, let them do. Because, if you like something, you tend to excel in whatever you like doing. So if they don't want to do, you will want to spend your lifetime.
You don't want them to go to the job being unhappy every day. Arjuna Madre said, be proud of your kids, show them love, show them respect, and love your kids for who they are. Everybody is, have the right to be who they are as an individual. We all are not made to be pastor or a doctor or a lawyer. Anthony Prasad says showing some support in all interests is important once it's something positive. And I must say, Anthony Prasad has a very good job. He's a full-time singer also, musician, and he is a great artist. So Anthony, please post a picture on my Facebook. He's been doing some great drawings, and his mom is very proud of him because she supported his talent.
And what I like about Anthony, he has a nice hairstyle, always well put together, Anthony. We have never met, but I know I will get to meet you sometime down the future. Especially I have Shanaz next to me. I'm sure she will introduce us when the right time comes. I see Neela said I should try some local honey. Unfortunately, today all the honey finished, so I didn't get to use any kind of honey.
He needs some more bees in the studio.
Yeah. But despite that, we still have people locked in, and we are still here in studio. Offer conflicting, or if you have a parents and you go to their house, you go to your friend's house, and you see that something has wrong with the child, and they're lying to you, and you suspect like there is some kind of abuse going on. Try to intervene. Try to see what's going on, and know exactly what's going on. Talk to the parents. 5 minutes
of your time could save a life, because you never know the mental status of the parent, and maybe you leaving the house will cause that child endangerment.
Child health expert condemn any kind of violence in any form, but some people still use corporal punishment, such as spanking. As many ways they choose to discipline their children, any corporal punishment may leave emotional scars. Parental behavior that causes pain, physical injury, or emotional trauma, even when done in the name of discipline, could be, say, like abuse. So we have to be very careful.
What do you call a parent who doesn't spend enough time with their children?
It's sad. We need to spend, and this is how I look at it. It's kind of sad sometimes, in my situation where I had to do two jobs to keep things together with the wife, but I know that Geeta was home there and was taking care of the house and so on. Unfortunately, in the States, a lot of time, and this is how some children get away with things. And I'm being just realistic. Oh, I would love to spend as much time with the boys and with Geeta as I have. Unfortunately, I could not have done that. Luckily, that my job has cut some hours for me, so I get to spend more time home. But the good thing is
because of your job. Or let's talk about parents who always occupy doing other things and not putting their children as priority.
And it's sad to say. When it
comes to your job, you shouldn't feel, you shouldn't have that hard feeling towards yourself because you're a provider. You can't be there physically and being able to provide for your kids, so you shouldn't hold that against yourself. But let's say you choose to go out every night, or you choose to be very social and neglecting your children.
That's bad. You shouldn't be doing that. As like I said before, when you become a parent, Shanaz, your life become, I want to say, secondhand, especially if the kids are small. If they're adult, it's a different story. But when you have young children, you need to be there for them. You need to be there to show them, love, and to be respectful to them, to show them the way. You should be able to take that lead to help these children to grow and to mature, to be great human being. And the time that I try to do that with my boys. I'm always hugging them and kissing them, and
showing them affection,
I do that.
That's what a lot of adults in Guyana is deprived from, because let's say someone over 50 or 60, there wasn't that time. They didn't see that love from their parents because their parents in Guyana was busy working. And I don't believe guys or dads back in the time used to hug or were that affectionate towards your children in Guyana. Do you think that? Was your parents very affectionate towards you?
Well,
hugging was something a little bit of a...
You know what? I don't think that happens a lot. I cannot remember, my dad hugged me probably less than 5 times.
Maybe on your birthday, he'll come and say happy birthday, and that's it.
Guyana has been changed. The things have changed now. Time have changed. I tell my boys every day, how much I love them. But I can't remember my dad tell me that. But I don't want to say that my dad was bad. But the parenting style from that time to now has been changed. It's different. We are in North America now. We do things differently now. My every day, for example, when
You're saying it's changed here or it's changed back
It's changed here more.
What
it's better now.
Home?
Well, I've left Guyana about 30 years now, so I don't know a lot how they
Guys,
do their things.
if you're locked on to Guyana, we love to have your input. If you feel like you're noticing changes in Guyana, positive or negative, do comment so we could read it on, because a lot of folks, I've seen my family and they're very affectionate. They post pictures and they're out all the time, so I see my part. But what about the rest of the world? Exactly.
So, and then you know what, Shanaz, I don't want to talk about my family all the time, but I just give an example. Like, I'm different. I'm really different. Like, for example, where that police guy died, and I look at life in a very different lens. I believe that this is a one-shot deal in life, and I don't know when I'm going to die, and so I try to live life every day like this is my last day on earth. Before I leave home in the morning, I would hug Geeta and give her a kiss and say goodbye.
You never know what the roads ahead
I
might
don't know
have.
if I'm going to come back home, and so whatever it is. And I'm not saying I don't fight now, Shanaz. I don't want people to believe that, this is such a perfect relationship. But we fight probably once every 6 months. That's how it goes. And
they said if you care for someone or something, you'll fight for that. And fighting is a good way of bonding. We're not made to know what Kenneth like or he doesn't like. So we all will have disagreement, but it's the way you bring it back together.
Yeah, and the good thing with I like to say things, Shanaz, what I like. I always tell people what I like and what I don't like. Most of the time, I say what I like. If you like, I like you to touch my nose. I tell you, like I tell people.
Geeta don't cook fish curry, and she cook fish curry 5 days a week. You'll get upset.
Yeah, I will tell her, listen, that little too much. You know what I'm saying? So, let's talk. You want to play some music, or you want me to go back to?
Let's have another song, and we'll be right back on the Caribbean Voice presentation of the Mind-Body Connection every Monday, 8 to 10 p.m. right here on Island Zone Radio. DJ, take it away.
It's passion. Give me. Alright.
do join me on Thursday, 9 to 11 p.m. on Island Zone Radio. We are here every Monday, 8 to 10 p.m. with the Caribbean Voice presentation of the Mind-Body Connection. Don't forget, Jamming on the River in New York City is June 29. It's presented by the Island Zone team, DJ Fest. Come on and support DJ Fest, a wonderful guy. Jamming on the River, the dancing sensational Mr. D-Raj Gairam. Yes, it's a Hawaiian team. And then leading our way to July, we have July 13 is the Concert for Hope presented by the Caribbean Voice. We have Amir Khan, Prince JP, Apache Warrior, Anthony Prasad, King Tony Singh, Satesh Udayaram, the lead of the Concert for Hope. Hey Jesh, good night to you. And yes, Jesh will be performing for us, the Caribbean Voice. Melinda Murphy, myself, alongside Mr. Nazir Sobrati, the beautiful Shanti Singh, and Kelvin. Not forgetting so many wonderful folks from the Caribbean Voice will be there at beautiful venue called Ross. Guys, the date is July 13. I'm heading down the way of August 3rd, heading all the way to Guyana. August 3rd, we will be at the Classic Hotel in Skeldon, Berbice. June 29, will be at the Sip and Chat restaurant in Florida. Welcome back to the Caribbean Voice. If you're just joining us, our topic tonight is child abuse. Bibi Razak, good night to you. Thank you, Ryan Jeffrey. Good night to each and every one of you, our wonderful supporters, our wonderful friends that's always sharing their intellect with us. Maureen Ramcharan, good night to you. I think Ken needs some really good hot spice ginger tea, and that will take that cough away. Delari Sigobin, good night to you. Geeta Baldale, let's read Geeta's comment. When parents go to work and they have a problem in work, they come home and take the frustration out on their kids. That's what we were talking about earlier.
And that's a true story too. Geeta Baldeo has always been supportive of me. She talked to me all week about this allergy and flu.
And he didn't take your advice, Geeta, so I'm not sure. I have another Geeta in the studio. Hopefully she'll be his night nurse tonight, and we'll see a follow-up tomorrow on his progress. Lena, I said, listen, I was a nanny babysitter in New York for 25 years, and I take care of kids like my own. She take care of their kids as her own, and she's a good friend of their parents. Well, I believe in treating everyone's children as your own. I cannot disrespect or mistreat someone's child because, it's the same pain and suffering that mother endure to bring that child into this world.
Absolutely. And I would like to say special hello to Miss Linda Singh. We haven't heard from her in a while, but thank
Linda, we're keeping you in
back.
our prayers. Feel better soon. And Liz, good night to you. She said, Liz, reporting from Guyana. Thank you very much. In Guyana now, parents hardly sit and talk to their kids. They send them to school, and their teacher is going to be counseling, the police, the nurse, the psychologist, and everything. We should send our kids a little bit prepared to society, I would say. When you're going out to school, you're enduring the public.
Shanaz, I believe that children, you should teach them home and prepare them for school, prepare them for the world. I think that we will be their best teacher as parents, and I'm hoping that we are the best parent for our best parents and best teacher for our children. The teacher can only do but so much, and that's why it's important that we live accordingly, live respectfully with the children, let them see what we do.
And some parents do not like their teachers to discipline their kids, but if you're not doing it at home, you're leaving all the job for the parents at school. Your kids are not going to school to learn discipline. You have to send them to school discipline. They're there to learn. When you get down to the bottom of it, the child is being abused at home, so the parent don't play a part of it anymore. It is very sad indeed.
Yes, I want to go back to Ms. Geeta Baldeo. I really do consider her my friend too. Let's talk about the risk factor. Same thing that she was talking. Our history of being abused or neglected as a child. If you're a parent and you see this, sometimes what happened, this becomes a normal thing for you. You see that your mother and father abuse you, and so you become the abuser now. And so, one of the good things to do is to stop this thing from continuing. That the way how my parents treat me, I want to use that and see the best thing to use as a ruler to treat my children in the best way. I took all the all the things that I like with
The
my
positive.
parents and bring them out and pass it on to my sons. Okay, physical or mental illness such as depression, PTSD. Now, if you have a mother or a father who have these diagnoses, definitely that they could abuse their children. We have seen that a lot. Family crisis or stress, including domestic violence and other marital conflicts or single parenting. Sometimes a mother is left with so much burden to take care of a child, and she have to go work long hours and left that child home. And you know what? She come home frustrated, and she don't know what to do. Here it is. She have a child that's not listening, and she have to now know how to deal with this. So and one of the good thing is that there is help out there, Shanaz, as I was saying. When this happens, it's always good. You can go and get counseling for you and your child. Get somebody to help you, or get some family. In Guyana, I know you have some respectable family member. You can go and always talk to them and see how they could help. A child in the family who is developmentally or physically disabled. Now, if you have a child who's home and disabled, parents would take out their frustration out of that child. So
Because they
here
don't
it is.
have the patience to be dealing with whatever needs he might need.
If you're poor, financial stress and unemployment, poverty, you can take out all of this from a child. You don't have money to buy the basic things for the house. It causes you to be stressed out, and anything happen in the house, you stressed out. You can't deal with it.
We should practice mindfulness, as one of our topic on our past program was mindfulness. Focus on the now and do not overwhelm yourself with too many of yesterday's or tomorrow's, because we're not guaranteeing of tomorrow. Mr. Jacob Ramasamy, good night to you and your wonderful family in Toronto. Good night to all our wonderful listeners on Island Zone Radio and our wonderful DJs and hosts right here. Arjuna Madre, good night to you. Angela Ramsaran, Miss Roxanne Walker said she broke that cycle.
Congratulations. I'm glad you did. Let's talk about even poor understanding of a child development and parenting skills. And the great thing about all of this now, our viewers and Shanaz, is that people can go online and you can look at YouTube. If you don't know how to handle these things, you can go and get all these questions answered. But what I said, it's good to go and talk to somebody. And that's why it's important that when you're pregnant, you go to these classes. I forget what class they call them. The parent have to go to this Lamaze class, and you learn how to take care of a child and a baby, and you don't get too upset and want to beat them. This would cause all of these problems sometimes. The alcohol, drugs, and other substance abuse in the family, it could really cause a problem in taking care of these
That's
children.
right. Sometimes they might have a few drinks or over medicated by a drug. If you're struggling from postpartum depression and you don't know what you're doing, so you have to get an adult. Sandra Singh, good night to you. Good night to each and every one of you locked on to Island Zone Radio. It's a beautiful Monday night in our studio. Good night to Ryan Jeffrey and yes, the beautiful Shanti. Good night to each and every one of you locked on. Let's say I have another title coming up from our young DJ, Aditya. Let's take it away. We'll be right back. Keep it locked. Mr. Anand Budram, the founder of the Caribbean Voice. Guys, show your support, show your love by purchasing a copy right now on Amazon.
बह जाते हैं यहाँ
बह गई मैं कह गई मैं जो भी मुझे कहना था
Selected by our young DJ in the studio tonight. Well, Mr. Ken is ready, and we will be talking about how to prevent abuse, basically.
Yeah, you know, and one of the things that I like to talk to is not the problem that we have, but what we can do to help prevent all of this. You can take important steps to protect your child from exploitation and child abuse, as well as preventing child abuse in your neighborhood or community. The goal is to provide a safe, stable, nurturing relationship for children, okay? And we talked about a couple of weeks ago what we can do as parents, how we're going to safeguard our children. We can't send our children to let everybody look at them and to take care of them when we can't do that, which means sometimes we want to go chutney wine or we want to go somewhere else and we don't have a babysitter. The best thing might be for us to
Take
do,
them along.
take them with you or you stay home.
Right.
And don't leave them with your male neighbor that he can abuse. He will have ample time while we partying and doing whatever it is. And I'm just using
It's
that
the
name.
feelings that you cannot forgive yourself, knowing that you're endangering your child.
Yes, you are enabling the whole story there, you know what I'm saying? You know what? Offer your child love and attention, nurturing your child, listen, be involved in his or her life to develop trust and good communication. Encourage your child to tell you if there's a problem. A supportive family environment and social network can foster your child's self-esteem and self-worth. You know, as parents, we have to have that open relationship with our children. Let them know that if anything happened, anybody tried to touch them, that they would come and tell us as their parents. We must have that open communication. Don't close it down or don't yell at them, because the thing is that they may not even want to come discuss anything with you. You know, don't respond in anger. If you feel overwhelmed or out of control, take a break. Don't take out your anger on your child. You talk to your doctor or your therapist, but a way you can learn to cope with stress and be interactive with your child. You know, as a parent, as you go to work and you work so hard during the day, you come home. You know, the good thing is that take a couple of minutes and unwind yourself, and then you sit down and you chat, talk to your child. How was your day? How was school today? What did you do? Did you learn anything, and so on? So always know these kind of things. Think supervision. Don't let your young child home alone. Don't leave them alone home. In public, keep a close eye on your child. You know too far many times that people run all over the place and they have the kids, they can't find them.
Even in public bathrooms, if
bathroom.
you're going somewhere in a public space, always keep an eye out, because you might have perpetrators. You know, your daughters are going into the female bathroom, but you have a guy there waiting to take advantage of her.
Absolutely. So that's why it's important that you be there and watch. Volunteer at school or for activities to get to know the adult who spends time with your child. When old enough to go out without supervision, encourage your child to stay away from strangers and to hang out with friends rather than to be alone, and to tell you where he or she is going, you know, at all times. You know, nowadays you hear people pass and they will tell your child, your girl child, you know what, come, I want to talk to you. I have a candy for you, you know, and you teach your children that anybody
That's the old
call
trick
you.
in the book, you know. That's the oldest trick. You tell them not to take anything from strangers, or do not talk to strangers. Hey, good night to Auntie Nalini, and happy 60th birthday greetings are going out to Uncle Michael as he celebrated his 60th birthday. And I know Dr. Demented also celebrated his birthday, so let's say happy birthday to Dr. Demented. Sandra Singh, good night to you. Good night to each and every one of you. It's a beautiful Monday. We're here every Monday, 8 to 10 p.m. on Island Zone Radio.
Yes, guys, and thanks for locking on to Island Zone Radio. we can't say thank you enough to the man himself, Mr. DJ Fest, for always supporting us. And I'm so glad that Roxanne, she said, you know what, she said, no one should touch you warm them. You warn them. And, you know, a good thing to do to Shanaz is if you have your boy child or your girl child, whatever, and you let them know that, you know what, this part of your body, nobody's to touch it. Nobody's to see your private parts. That is just you, and that's your prized possession. Anybody try to touch you there, let
Feel
them be
comfortable enough to come and tell me.
tell you, and let them be comfortable enough to say for themselves, do not touch me there. My mom and dad told me that you should not be touching me in those places. That's my thing. You know what I'm saying?
Ryan Jeffrey posts, yes, I did saw the father who left his 3-year-old in the car and locked the doors and burned that child. Well, that was on the sad Facebook post. And we were talking earlier on all these things that we're seeing on Facebook. You know, one of my friends said, I'm coming off of Facebook because it used to be more fun, more interactive, but all you're seeing is the bad news from around the world.
Exactly. So.
Well, maybe we have the gadgets and the resources to see what's happening around the world. Not saying it wasn't happening before, but now we have all that technology so we could see what's happening in various villages around the world.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much, Mr. Roxanne Walker. She said, yes, male or female, we should. And, you know, we always talk about abuse and sexual abuse. We should talk to our male children as well because, you know, they should learn to respect others and respect females, not just girls, but other boys and males and females. Respect them because most of the time, if we're protecting our daughters and we're not telling, you know, teaching the boys to stay away, they will be the one targeting the girls.
Absolutely. And so I'm gonna rush things a little bit because we got so much things we want to cover here tonight. Emphasize when to say no. Make sure your child understands that he or she does know when to say no, you know, and when to come and report to you when not to say anything. Encourage your child to leave a threatening or frightening situation immediately and seek help from trusted adult. You know what? And sometimes you can find somebody who you can go and talk to and let them know that, you know what, that guy is trying to touch me. You know, you can do that. And if something happens, encourage your child to talk to you or to talk to any trusted adult about the episode. Assure your child that it's okay to talk, you know, and that you're going to listen and that the child will not get into trouble. I see your friend Apache Warrior locked in. Thank you very much. Tell your child to let you know that if any unknown person make contact with you, you know, now they have the internet. These guys try to get in touch with your children via the internet.
Always be a surveillance. Know who your kids are talking to because they could be, you know, predators out there just waiting to attack. And Lena, I wrote something very nice. Lots of kids are running away from home because of neglect. They don't have their attention. They don't have no attention. They don't have an elderly at home supervising them or showing them that love and affection. We're so busy running around, you know, attending parties, social events. That's how people take advantage, especially the young girls. So yes, they're looking for love. They're looking for attention. So always pay attention to who they're talking to on the internet, who are they on the phone with 24/7.
You know what? Always consider a red flag if you see a child is having a secret conversation on the internet. You want to know what's going on. You need to go and find out who your child is talking to. Cover ground rules such as not sharing personal information. And make sure you tell your children those kind of things. Don't tell them mommy's not home. My mother left and she's gone to Barbados, which means that, you know what, you just give that person the door so that that person could come find you. And now with the this computer age, people can come and do find you. I would like to say hello to Miss Deepa Dasrat. Thank you for tuning in.
Ryan Jeffrey said your child have a GPS, put it on their phone, put a GPS on their phone as well.
Absolutely. And these things are not expensive now to do. Reach out, meet families in your neighborhood. You know, talk to your neighbors and find a bond. You know, talk to them and know what their children are doing and how your children, they all could be friends. You know what I'm saying? That if in case they see anything different, yes.
If you like a family that, you know, that doing good parenting skills, you know, reach out to someone who's experienced. They could give you a few tips here and there.
Also, I would like to say the National Child Hotline number is 1-800-422-4455. That's the National Child Abuse Hotline. And if you want to call Prevent Child Abuse America, 1-800-244-5373. Again, 1-800-244-5373. You know, remember, child abuse is preventable and often a symptoms of problem that may be treatable. Keep in mind that healthcare professionals, and you know that you and I are responsible. We are mandated by law that to report any kind of abuse, which is we have to do, or else we get in trouble ourselves.
Right. It's like if you see something, say something because you're responsible as well.
That's right. Always provide a safe environment for your children. Let's talk about, I'm so tempted to talk about this here, and I'll go right ahead and do it because it's causing so much problems in the United States, especially. Consider this: every 2 minutes, a child is being exploited in the sex industry. According to the USA Today, adults purchase children for sex at least 2.5 million times a year in the United States. And we want to ask, who buy these childs for sex? Otherwise, ordinary men from all walks of life. And you'll be surprised. They could be your co-worker, your cousin, the police officer next door, a judge, and the pastor, even to your spouse. In Georgia alone, it is estimated that 7,200 men, half of them in their 30s, seek to purchase sex with adolescent girls each month, right? Averaging roughly 300 a day. On average, a child might be raped 6,000 times by men during 5 years period of servitude. It is estimated that at least 100,000 children, girls and boys, are bought and sold for sex in the U.S. every year, with as many as 300,000 children in danger of being trafficked each year. Some of these children are forcefully abducted or are run away, and still others are sold into the system by their parents or their family. So here it is. Sometimes you have children and they may think to themselves that they're going to run away from home, and they don't know that they have all these men lurking around to get hold of them so that they could sell them into this sex trafficking. And you know what the sad part of this too, Shanaz, and to our viewers, is that sometimes parents do sell their own children into the sexual industry. So we have to be very careful. Also, people who do drugs, a lot of times they will sell their girl child, a baby, just to get high, which doesn't make sense to us, but it does make sense to them because they want to get high.
At that time, that moment, all they're thinking about is how to get high, how to get the funds to supply their needs. Mary Ann Lou, good night to you. Lene, thank you very much. She said that GPS don't work. The teenager is so smart, they turn it off their phones. That's a good one. And they use their friend's phone. That's a good tip.
These children, we were children one time, they all know what to do. And I see people do things. I see schoolgirls dressed in uniform and go to school and take out their clothes.
I had a neighbor who, she thought her daughter was Miss Perfect. She doesn't come out the gate and talk to the neighbors. She was number one. And her child was going to a very prestige school in Queens in uniform, but, happened to be spotted somewhere else out of uniform, and the mom would not believe, her extracurricular activities that goes on after.
It's sad. It is estimated at least 100,000 children, girls and boys, are bought and sold for sex trafficking in the United States, right? We said the bad thing again is the family gain. Human trafficking, the commercial sexual exploitation of American children and women via the internet strip club, escort services, or street prostitution is on its way to become one of the worst crime in the United States. And it is said by Krishna Patel. He is a U.S. prosecutor. This is an industry that revolves around cheap sex on the fly, with young girls and women who are sold to 50 men each day for $25 a piece. When their handler make $100,000 to $200,000 a year, this is not a problem found only in big cities, Shanaz. It's all over the place. It is estimated that there are 100 to 150,000 underage children sex workers in the United States. These girls aren't volunteers to be sex slaves. They are lured, forced, trafficked into it. Most cases, they have no choices. And it is true that with these girls go out there, they have no choices, because what happened? They have these pimps. What they do, these pimps have their cars, they pick up these girls, they drop them. Now things become very sophisticated, where they have phones And so now the pimp have these girls. The girls get a phone. The pimp get a phone. She goes. She do her thing. She
And
comes
somebody
out
could
back.
be on the street watching you, right?
Well, the pimps stay outside and watch
Okay.
them most of the time, and it happened right here. I see it in Sutphin Boulevard,
Wow.
right here in South Road area, Jamaica.
You guys
Queens.
might have a question for Ken. What is he doing in that area, right?
They
Maybe
go
he
to-
was buying groceries.
I am not doing all those fancy business. I'm not getting into type of that. I don't want to say I'm better than that, but you know what I mean? I don't, let me put it nice and professional. I don't indulge myself in that kind of a market, if you know what I mean. Now, when I drive to go down to work something on the Van Wyck, I see these girls, and it's in winter month. I see them with just a short
So you know
pants.
what they're looking
and
for.
oh my God, I know. You know. I've been around and I've been work around this neighborhood. So I see. You want to say something?
Hey, Ryan Jeffrey, good night to you. Yes, he said there was a situation. A mom sold her kid to pay off the drug bill. Wow, that is sad. I guess she valued or she loved the drug more than her child, I believe. Gita Baldeo, good night to you. Diana Shivram, the Caribbean Voice, all the members of the Caribbean Voice, good night to you guys. Very hardworking members in Guyana, and they're very fast with responding to your call. So if you know someone struggling for domestic violence, child abuse, or alcoholism, do call us, the Caribbean Voice. Add us on Facebook, and we'll be there to help you guys out. Deepa, that's right. Good night to you. Hey, Savita, good night to you. From Parika, we have folks locked on from Parika.
That's right. All over the world now. We're getting there, Tanga.
Guys, share the link so someone in need could be watching the video and they will know where to reach out to the Caribbean Voice. We have very qualified counselors waiting to take your call.
Yes, we're gonna tie this up not too long from now. I'm gonna ask our DJ to get a song get ready. So, and for instance, in the Baltimore, Washington area, where we have all the politicians referred to as a circuit with its I-95 corridor. Well, I drive there a lot of times, so I know. With a dotted red spot, bus station and bus stop is the hub for the sex trade. No doubt about it. This is a highly profitable, highly organized, and highly sophisticated sex trafficking business that operates in tongues large and small, raking up as much as $9.5 billion a year in U.S. dollars we're talking about, along with abducting and selling young girls for sex. Each year, the girls are being sold gets younger and younger. The average one that we say is actually 13 years old. This means that they are children younger than 13. That means they are 9, 10, 11, 12 years old. For every 10 women rescued, there are 50 to 100 more women who are bought in by traffickers. Unfortunately, there are 18 or 20-year-old. They are not there anymore. Noted a 25-year-old victim. They are minors as young as 13 years old that are being sold, and they are little girls. Where did the appetite for these young girls come from? We're going to talk about that, but I want to say it's sad because these are young girls, and to go out with these older guys for sex, and you don't know how they take advantage of these young girls. And so I want to say, young girls or boys, don't run away from home. You don't know what's out there.
The dangers we
The
have
dangers are out there, and these perpetrators, they are so nice with their mouth that guess what? They will lure you in. You have no experience for the market and to know what's going on out there. So we will go with a song now, and when I come back, we will let you know about the appetite for these young girls.
That's right. As Lynette said, there's sex trafficking all over the world today. Good night to each and every one of you. And she said Guyana members are abused by their own families. And I was talking to a co-worker of mine from Philippines who said her neighbor, the wife, knew the husband was abusing their daughter, and she couldn't intervene because he was a provider. They had like 5 kids, and because they have the 5 kids and she wasn't working, she couldn't say anything. She knew the husband was molesting the child, one daughter in particular, but she didn't want to intervene. She didn't want to say nothing, and that was very sad to stay there as a mother, knowing your husband is taking advantage of your own child.
Yes.
Well, let's take a number, and we'll be right back on the Caribbean Voice.
से सांसे चोरी चोरी ले गई चुरा के चोरी चोरी ख्वाबों में आके she got me losing my mind चोरी चोरी
आँखों में आके
चोरी चोरी
ख्वाबों में जाके
चोरी चोरी
तुम्हें चुरा के
she got me losing my mind तेरी नजर तो है फरेबी तेरा हुआ ये जान के भी just might be a criminal she burning like a fever and I'm a believer नशा है नजाक पे इन आँखों को छोड़ो अदा में करोड़ों छुपी है शरारते it's criminal way that booty going pop 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 it's criminal way that body going stop 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 oh ishq ka asar kare dinna dinna dil ka asar kare dinna dinna ek asar kare dinna dinna raat pe kehti hu oh ishq ka asar kare dinna dinna dil ka asar kare dinna dinna ek asar kare dinna dinna raat
It's Criminal, beautiful song selected by our young DJ tonight. Well, folks, welcome back. Nirmala Singh, good night to you. She said, I don't understand a mother is just sit back quietly and let her child being abused by the provider, especially when it's your own parent, you know, the dad. How can you allow this to happen? You should be the protector of your children, your child, especially your daughters. I mean, not saying that guys and boys are not getting molested daily also.
And you know what? And you said it correctly, Shanaz. Is whereby a mother knows that her husband is abusing one of the child or two of the children. I mean, so the story is now, what do? She's in like we said, in a between a rock and a hard place. What do I do now? Here it is. I have 5 kids, 2 of them being abused by the man I love. I am not working. I don't have no way to work to get any kind of money. How do I do this? And so what happened now? She now have to decide what she is going to do. So it's a sad thing.
Well, I would believe, choose a family member, send them for a vacation, a long vacation or something, somewhere secure. I'm sure there's, other places you could select to have your child there for a while.
Yeah, so, and that's where...
Safe house.
And, we do have that, unfortunately, in Guyana. There is not a lot of safe house. I don't know if there's any safe house in Guyana. So you have to be very careful as a mother. You have to decide what you're going to do. But I want to say emphatically that, what the best thing to do is, and I'm not giving anybody advice what to do, so I don't want nobody to feel I'm giving them advice what to do. But you know what, the best thing to do is to get help for yourself and your children, because the longer, according to studies, the longer your child left into this situation and live in this abuse, the more damage is going to happen to this child. So the best thing to do...
She's already getting that hatred because my mom is not protecting me. She's not defending me. She should be defending me against my dad,
Exactly.
And she's already building up all that hatred for you as a mother, and you cannot live with that, Take care of them. I would rather send them to a family or a friend who I know I could trust, of course.
Yeah, and it's an unfortunate situation to be in. So we were talking earlier. We want to know how come now these guys want all these young girls. But you know what? As we know for a long time, younger girls, they attract the older men, and that's from a long time that I know these guys want these young girls. According to a 2000 studies from the University of Alberta, as many as 90% of boys and 70% of girls aged from 13 to 14 have accessed sexual explicit context on her at least one time. And you know what? They could go online. They see MySpace. Well, we don't have too much of MySpace no more. You have Facebook or other social network. They pick up these girls at like we said, bus stop, or these boys at bus stop on the way. Trolley girls to girls recruitment. Sometimes it happens. They go to foster homes, and it's sad because when you go to foster home, those are children who are having problems. So you imagine you go in and take advantage of these girls that already have so much problems, and they pick up the girls from the shelter, and these places also become the prime target for traffickers. Rarely do these girls enter into prostitution voluntarily. Many start out as runaway, as we said, throwaway, or they're snatched by pimps or large sex ring. Other persuade to meet with a stranger after interacting with them on Facebook or online, any social media site they go to. They find themselves quickly initiated into a new sex. Exactly, they get into the system very quickly. So
Doris Dairam, good evening to you. Auntie Nalini, good night, good night. Lisa Paduman said, I'm going to stop loving that man and run with my kid. That's what I will do, you know. How can you love a man or share the same bed with him knowing that he's endangering your child, knowing his mental state of mind, you know? Unlove him and move on with your child, because you are their protector. You should be raising them well, looking out for them, especially if your husband is not, you know, capable of doing that. And our Caribbean Voice Media said, no safe house in Guyana, only promises from the authorities. So I believe we should be doing a campaign to have more safe houses in Guyana. Guys, we're urging you, we are the Caribbean Voice, a non-profit organization. Do contribute to our GoFundMe page. That's how we keep things going on the ground in Guyana with our counselors doing a fantastic job reaching out to anyone and everyone in need. 5 minutes of your time could save a life, and suicide prevention is everybody's business.
Yes, and it takes 5 minutes only.
That's
to
right.
save a life.
Right now we have 2 pallets we are ready to ship to Guyana, so your contribution, your donation means a lot. So be generous, and Mr. Anand Bodram or the beautiful Bibi will put that link up, the GoFundMe link in our chat box, so you guys could contribute $1 or $2 would mean a lot to our organization tonight.
That's right. We are not asking for a lot of money, okay? According to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, nearly 800 children go missing every year, which is roughly 2,185 children a day. That's a lot of children missing. And imagine that a lot of us are not hearing about these children. Guess what? It's not going to be a problem that's going to go away anytime soon, because guess what happened? The market is there, and the guys are going for these girls. So there is no time.
Where should we put an end to this? We need to getting them in the country, I believe.
You know what the best thing probably we can do, we can educate ourselves. You know, we should demand much more from our politician, because it is my opinion that these politicians need to do much more for these children. We are spending a lot of money doing a lot of different things. I don't want to go into details what we are wasting money to do, but here it is. We have young children who are being abducted and who are being sold as in the sex slave, and they get lost. You know, this is not a problem as we're going to go away anytime soon.
Well, Mr. John Nemeth said the awareness is good, guys, but we live in a sick and corrupt world, so I don't think this problem will ever be solved. Well, if we take a stand for it, we'll definitely. How are you able to bring in, you know, import these children without proper authorities and, you know, borderline securities?
You know what? These guys, these traffickers, they are so smart sometimes that they know how to get away and do all these things. As you know, and there is so many illegal immigrants in this country, and you could imagine some of them being being held as hostage because they don't have the papers. The people are telling them, you know what? We are going to report you if you don't comply with X, Y, and Z. So you know, it's such a cycle that it's tough for us to break, but you know, together we all can do something. We can add our little sense into this mix and help prevent this. You know, for those traffic is a nightmare from the beginning to the end. From the time they get picked up, they don't know who they're going with. They're going with all these men from all over the
they're
place.
all trying to run away from poverty, I believe, you know, looking forward for a better life, because there are promises being made. And I've seen a movie, I can't recall the name right now, where all these girls were promised jobs to come to the United States, and they were all kept as slaves, sex slaves. So, you know, they're looking to get away from their problems and they're getting a better future, but they come here with false hope and false promises. So on that note, you have to educate and enlighten your children.
And we will talk in just about 2 minutes what to do. For those being sold for sex, have an average life expectancy of 7 years, and those years are a living nightmare of endless rape, forced drug, humiliation, degradation, threats, disease, pregnancies, abortion, miscarriage, torture, pain, and always the constant fear of being killed. You know, they hurt them, these guys. Some of them have no kind of conscience. They do all manner of things with these girls. As we said, some of them become pregnant. They have to get abortion, and sometimes they don't get the best care there is. So it's so sad, and then we have to ask, that our government do a better job in this. And so what can we do? As you said, somebody asked, what can we do? Educate ourselves and our children about the growing menace in our community. Stop feeding the monster. Sex trafficking is a part of a larger continuum in the United States that runs a gamut from the homeless, poverty, self-esteem issues, to sexualized television. And you have all these nice girls dress up and dance half naked, and they do attract all these men, despite we say that that shouldn't happen. No matter how you dress, nobody should
have the right to exploit your body.
Exactly. So, and then you have the glorification of a pimp whole culture, what is often referred to as a pornification of America, and the billion-dollar sex industry built on the backs of pornography, music, entertainment, etc. And I want to go to something that's serious. And me and you talk about this before. For example, we're having our show, and we're having a couple thousands when the week comes, and let's say about 5,000 viewers, and we spend time, so much hours preparing for this, and we're not saying what we're doing really, but you get somebody to go and dress up half naked and go on the internet.
You will get more views,
I see they're getting million
attention, you'll have
viewers,
more shares, because that's what folks are there looking for. Their predators, and they just want to be, caught up in entertainment. They will share that video, so we have more share on something negative
exactly,
or exploited than something positive in our community. I've seen it over and over. Auntie Doris Diaram, good night to you. And yes, DJ Fest, big up to you. And Lene said, listen, sometimes you don't have to keep your mouth shut. My friend daughter was cutting class 2 days a week, and she got pregnant by a 50-year-old man, but the mother did not believe. Sometimes it's so hard as a parent to really, understand your child or believe that they actually could do that. But I've seen it firsthand.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And so we have to try to see our best. Lena, I said good night, Ken and Shanas, for your interesting topic tonight. It is it's good. Yes, we have to bring this topic up, and sometimes you hear us talk about it now and over again, but it's a big business, and so we want to add our penny into this, so that we could ease these kind of things.
Arjuna Madre said all the Chinese massage parlors are connected to the sex slave industry. So we need to get to the bottom of this, and believe me, it takes one person with the motivation and skills to make this all go away. Well, a team of folks, and you guys could all make that happen by sharing the video. Let's share positivity. And you know what, the folks who we really need to see the video may not be accessible to technology, are the folks in the third world countries who are looking to get away out of poverty. Guys, we have the Caribbean Voice media page. Share the link there. That's our GoFundMe page for the Caribbean Voice. Please donate generously. Maureen Ramcharan, good night to you. Arjuna Madre, Harry George, good night to you. I'll be calling upon you for a donation. Thank you very much to each and every one of you locked on to Island Zone Radio every Monday, 8 to 10 p.m. Our presentation of the mind-body connection. If you'd like us to talk about something or call someone for you, do reach out to us, the Caribbean Voice, on Facebook, Mr. Kenneth Hiram and myself, or Mr. Anand Budram. We're always here to help. We have behind the scenes the beautiful Bibi Ahmad and Neela Pawaru. Not forgetting the members. We have so many members in our chat box, making a difference day after day.
I want to say what we can do too. The final thing that we can call on our city councils, elected official, and police department to make the battle against sex trafficking a top priority, more so even than the so-called war or terrorists and drugs and marginalization of law enforcement. So yes, we must and we should able to call on our elected officials demanding better for our children, knowing that we have little kids that all these things happen to. And I'm going down to the final conversation here, and then I'll hand over to Shanaz. That's why so many women and children continue to be victimized, brutalized, and treated like human cargo is due to three things. One, we have the customer demand that is increasingly lucrative for everyone involved, and we are talking there about we the people out there. We want to have
demands.
Yes, we go in and buy these things.
They're supplying us.
Exactly. So then accept the victims. Number two, we have a level of corruption so invasive on both and local and international scale that there is little hope of working through established channels for change. And three, eerie silence from individuals who fail to speak out against such atrocities. But the truth is that we are all guilty of contributing to this human suffering. The traffickers are guilty. The consumers are guilty. The corrupt law enforcement officials are guilty. The women's group who do not say anything or just stand there, they're guilty. The foreign peacemakers and the aid workers who contribute to the demand for sex slaves are guilty. Most of all, every individual who does not rise up to the huge cry over the atrocities being committed against women and children which is every nation around the globe. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that we all could embrace this child abuse. Let us try to see how much we can curb this from happening. Keep an eye on your children. You know what? Children are young children. They should not
future.
Be supposed to go through all of this. Imagine they're so small. They're innocent. We should not be doing this to them.
Preserve their innocence and raise them to be the best they could be, the best of your offspring that the world can enjoy. Diana Shivram, good night to you. Auntie Doris Dairam, good night to each and every one of you. Ish Anita, good night to you. Do you remember where Ish Anita is locked on from?
Jamaica, eating some ackee and saltfish.
Maureen Ramcharan, good night to you. Roxanne Walker. Hey, the famous John from Queens, our editor when it comes to the Caribbean Voice presentation. You could watch us now on FiOS, Channel 56, Channel 34 on Spectrum TV. That will be tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Repeated episode every Saturday, 9 p.m. Check it out, or you never know. Let's Cook with Shanaz might be airing on Spectrum on FiOS tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. FiOS and Spectrum, check it out. We love you guys. We love you for commenting and give us all your feedbacks. Mr. John Palmari, the famous John from Queens, said good show, and he's always approving and supporting the Caribbean Voice. Thank you guys for all your love, your commitment, your support. Sharing is caring. Hit share. You never know who the video might be helping when we're not around.
Well, yes, thank you very much. I always want to say thanks to everybody. You know, Shanaz, the flu had me for the past week, and I'm like, how would I do this?
Everyone is concerned about your care. Lina, I said, wear a mask. I believe Auntie Dora said something. Hey Nadira Prasad, good evening, good evening. Everyone is telling Kenneth to take ginger. Yes, well, Anita just had, I think, ackee and saltfish with roasted breadfruit. That's a very traditional dish in Jamaica.
Yeah. Thanks to all of you guys. We do enjoy having you locked on here. And, you know, another good thing that you guys could do after this show has been aired, please go ahead and share it to all your friends. And don't forget to tag them. Like I try to tag 100 people at a time. The thing is that we can do a lot of, Shanaz and myself cannot do so much tagging because guess what? Facebook block us sometimes. So we ask that you help us. And that's the best thing, get the word out. Continue to share this. And so we can highlight all these topics.
Thank you very much in advance for sharing. Your sharing means you're already a member of the Caribbean Voice, bringing awareness to others around you. And yes, we need to put our foot down. We need to end child slavery, domestic abuse, and sex slavery.
And we want to say thank you very much to our DJ for sitting down with us for 2 hours and for selecting all the songs too.
The wonderful DJ. I wonder what is his final selection. Well, let's take a dance item, as we believe dancing is the best medicine. Actually, dancing is a good exercise. Let's get some exercise in our Monday. Let's go. Good night, guys. Take care. God bless. And all the best from the Caribbean Voice to you. God bless.
कहानी है मुश्किल दो लफ्जों में ये बयां ना हो पाए एक लड़का एक लड़की की
July 13th, guys, July 13th, we're coming to you. Concert for Hope. We have Amir Khan, Prince JP, Apache Warrior, Anthony Prasad, King Tony, Satish Udairam from Florida, Jesh, Melinda, Nazir Subrati, the beautiful Shanti Singh, and Kelvin. Not forgetting June 29, NYC. Let's jump in on the river. That is Jumping on the River, presented by Island Zone Radio DJ Fest. We have Dheeraj Gairam, the dancing sensational, will be there. The beautiful Fiona Singh and Randy Reckless. Come on board and jump on the river with Island Zone team. Love is in the air, and love should always be in the air for yourself and others. The next song I have coming up is by a wonderful artist representing homeland Guyana.
Woman is a blessing, woman is a blessing, woman is a blessing.
It's titled Woman is a Blessing by Stephen Rampal. Enjoy.
Woman is a blessing, woman is a blessing, woman is a blessing, yeah. Woman is a blessing, woman is a blessing, woman is a blessing, yeah. Treat she like a queen, and don't you ever play. Give she all the best things, and love she night and day. A woman is a treasure, and very hard to find. So don't abuse no woman, cause you're stepping out of line.